Thanks so much for that warm welcome. My name's Di Crone and today I want to share my story with you. So on the 26th of March 2017, I woke up with a start in the middle of the night. My right arm was numb. My speech was slurred. I was feeling confused and disoriented. It was almost like I was leaving my body. So it was like I was heading down this tunnel and I could look back and see my body, but I didn't feel part of my body. It was actually terrifying and I thought I was having a stroke. So I went down the hall, I woke up my daughter. I tried to tell her what was happening, but she could hardly understand me. So she rang the ambulance. The ambulance came and they rushed me to hospital. I was there for 4 days where they did a barrage of tests, each test getting increasingly more and more sophisticated as they tried to find a physical cause for what was happening, as doctors usually do. They normally start with the physical, don't they? But they couldn't actually find out what was wrong with me. And so I was stuck in this hospital bed wondering what on earth was going on. And if you've ever been in hospital, it feels like you're getting swallowed up by this sort of huge clinical machine. And that's exactly how I felt. And at the RBH, as you probably know, it's a teaching hospital. So I felt like I was being done to and talked over rather than being talked with, because the doctors, one of their roles is to teach the younger staff coming up through the system. But what they couldn't see or didn't want to see was that it wasn't a physical cause. The issue was mental health. I was lying in bed thinking, why can't they see that I'm in mental distress? I had a very long history, about 20 years of mental health issues with anxiety and depression. And basically the hospital system did absolutely nothing to bring down my level of anxiety and to deal with the real issues that were actually going on. For the first couple of days, I had wonderful support when I went home after the 4 days in hospital. So I'm eternally grateful for that support, but basically after 2 days, I was alone. And I was living out at Samsonvale at that point, and I'm on acreage, and it's quite isolating living at Samsonvale to start with. And basically I just had my teenage daughter for company, and we all know what teenagers are like. And I really didn't want to put this on her anyway. You start to almost feel like a failure that, you know, your daughter's almost looking after you. I couldn't even drive at this point. Physically, I wasn't up for it. And I'd actually lost my confidence as well. So I was just feeling stuck at home. And you end up spiralling downwards at this point. And you sit back and you wonder, how on earth did I get here? I'd hit rock bottom. And you can look at the surface and you can say, okay, well, I'm a single mother, I'm a sole breadwinner, I had no family support around me, I had this history of anxiety and depression, and I was trying to get my business up and running, and it was really struggling. And as business owners, I'm sure you know the stress that comes with that, the financial stress, the emotional stress, the mental stress and the stress that it puts on your family. So I took a long, hard look at what was going on, and I reached out to Linda Conyard. And as most of you know, Linda does trauma therapy. I didn't really understand exactly what trauma was. I had assumed, I guess, that it was if you had been involved in a war or if you'd been raped or attacked or something like that, that sort of trauma. But basically, pretty much every one of us has experienced trauma during our lives. And what was happening with me is that when I'd started Wildfire Business Consulting, a whole raft of unresolved issues just came up from the depths. Even issues that went far back to my childhood, things that I had completely forgotten about. And what was happening with me were things were triggering me, and I was starting to ask myself questions about my worthiness and what was expected of me. You know when you start shoulding, I should be doing this, I should be acting like that. It's so unhealthy, really. And you know, my background, as most of you know, it's in accounting and project management, business analysis, all very, very structured sort of work. Very logical and very dispassionate. And I used to work, you know, in a large accounting firm, and you kept that professional distance. Well, that just doesn't cut it when you work with small business. They really want to get to know you, the person. So I could feel a different side of me was bubbling up inside, this more intuitive, empathic, emotional sort of side. And I wanted to embrace it, but I had this real resistance because all the shoulding was happening in my head. And it was like, well, everyone's going to think I'm this sort of lightweight, woo-woo kind of person. If I start talking about, you know, oh, I just got goosebumps when you said that. Well, now I embrace that. I call them truth bumps. So when I meet with a client or a friend or a colleague and they say something, and I know it's true, and no joke, I just got goosebumps then. So I know when what I'm saying is the truth, when I get covered in goosebumps, and I know it when someone else is saying their truth, I also get covered in goosebumps. It's actually really cool. So working with Linda is not for the faint-hearted, I can tell you that much. It is really hard work, and it's like having this onion that you just keep peeling back the layers. You start with the surface stuff and you think, oh yeah, I'm all good, yeah, that's great. See you later, come back for the next session. And then we'll peel another layer back and another layer back. And so Linda has been instrumental in helping me to identify the source of a lot of my stress and my mental health issues. But I've also done a lot of inner work myself. I've done a lot of research and reading about that myself as well. So we can let ourselves be defined by our fear, or we can actually start to embrace the real me, the real you. So when I went into this business, I wanted to help small business owners to really get hold of what their purpose was, what their passion was, and help them bring that to life. But I wasn't doing that myself. So I wasn't fooling anyone. So it was no wonder that I was more, you know, pushing potential clients away rather than drawing them in. So what does this mean for you and your business? I strongly believe that we all need a purpose. It's that thing that gets us up in the morning. It's that thing that lights us up. A lot of my clients, when they come to me, they feel sort of scattered. They're not focused. They're not confident. They're not really sure where they're heading. And you can talk to clients about money. You can talk to them about marketing. You can talk to them about the business model. There's no point. Until they are crystal clear on what their mission is in their business, it's all fluff around the edges. So that's what I learned the really hard way, because I spent thousands and thousands of dollars on exactly that. A whole stack of marketing, mentoring, you know, coaching, consulting and all that kind of thing. I did it the wrong way around. I needed to set myself up and be grounded in my power before I went on to deal with marketing and branding and all that kind of thing. So once you're really clear on what your mission is, then you can set up a really good business model that is going to help you to make the money that you deserve, help you to get the meaning in your life, and to have really good mental health along the way. So a lot of you are business owners. Who wakes up in the morning sometimes and just feels overwhelmed? Yeah, okay, yeah. It happened to me just the other day. So we're trying to be the Jack or Jill of all trades, aren't we? Yeah? It's like we're the butcher, the baker and the candlestick maker in our business. And so sometimes I wake up and it's all swirling around in my head. My huge to-do list. It's never ending, is it? Yeah? As soon as you tick one thing off, you add 3 more things on, yeah? And then we jump online and then we get FOMO, you know, that fear of missing out. Oh, what are they doing? Oh, I could need to learn that. Oh, I need to meet this person. I need to network. So for me, what I do now is if I get that feeling, I ground myself. So whatever works for you. For some people it's meditation. For some people it's singing or dancing, or maybe it's just playing with your dog, you know. And then I break things down into bite-sized chunks. And then I don't necessarily pick the first thing, the most important thing, or the highest priority thing. I pick one thing I'm good at, one thing I can do easily, one thing I can do quickly, and I take that step. Yeah? One step, and I go, good job, Di. Yeah? Because we don't celebrate the little things enough, do we? And then I pick one more thing. Yep, one more step. And then soon I've got momentum. And I'm out there and I'm smashing it, and you can smash it too. So Linda's going to talk a little bit more about when you can help yourself versus when you might need to seek professional support. But we can all do things in our daily lives that boost our mental health. So for me, it sometimes is literally about stopping and smelling the roses. And walking in nature is really important for me. And I think it's more important for most people. We're creatures of the earth. And so it's not just charging down the footpath with your headphones in, listening to music or, you know, an audible book, because you think you might be killing two birds with one stone, but what you're doing is you're splitting your focus. You cannot be truly present unless you're doing one thing at a time. So I'm the lunatic who's off the beaten path, going up to trees, running my hand down the bark, looking up, seeing the sunlight coming down through the leaves. I don't care what people think about me anymore in terms of that, because that's what grounds me and brings me into the present. Another practice I find really helpful is gratitude, and Donna Thistlethwaite talks about this as well. And so I'm in a Facebook group, and the idea is every day you post one thing that you're grateful for. Could be big, could be small, but as long as it's true for you. And you not only feel gratitude bubbling up in yourself, but you get it vicariously through everyone else's posts. It's really lovely. And last but not least, family. So my family is really important to me. So we make a point every night, sitting down at the dinner table, eating dinner together, no devices in sight. And sometimes if we're not talking, that's fine. We just eat in silence and that's comfortable. But other times the best stuff comes up from my daughter, and I really get to connect with her deeply. And I find that's an absolute blessing. So I'd like to thank you very much for your time and attention this morning. And now I'd like to hand over to Linda. Thank you.